Welcome to Tent Talk, the podcast with Nancy McCready, where we talk about life under the big tent of God's presence and the provoking process of discipleship. Here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tent Talk. This is Nancy McCready. Today we talk about dominating or developing. We need to see the contrast of these. We need to choose to be those who are developing others around us as we are allowing Him to develop us. I also today want to thank our individual financial partners who make everything possible here at Nancy McCready Ministries. Remember, Tent Talk is the podcast of Nancy McCready Ministries. So today I want to thank Sharon N. I want to thank Stacy P. And I want to thank those international partners. I'm not able to name each of them today, but they'll know who they are. Those who are in the nations outside of the US of A, who are making it possible for us to do all that God has given us to do. So thank you, thank you. And if you today are not yet a financial partner with NMM, then please go to nancymccready.com, click the giving button, and follow the prompts. And we look forward to bringing you on to the NMM partner team. Love you all. I can remember a conversation that I had with my husband as we were deepening in our raising of our granddaughter. And when you are in the place of being able to have a do-over, I want to say that in the right way, where you know that you made many, many mistakes previously. And now hopefully you've learned something and you're going to step in, and you're not the same person maybe as when you parented your own children. Now, hopefully, wiser, a little bit more patient, slower to anger, because you've taken more authority over yourself and you've learned from the pain of the mistakes that you made previously. I can remember these conversations, and I remember the Lord saying to me, are you going to dominate her or develop her? Oh, what a question. What a question. And so this has come up for me as I've been thinking about the authority quotient, bitterness quotient, maturity quotient. So looking at the purposes of real authority, that authority is to bring development, to bring someone into order and peace and preparation and development, training, maturing, so that they can live the life that they're called to live, whatever that may mean, whether you're raising them from 0 to 18, whether you're an authority that is a trainer in a particular corporation, and you know that you've got to get people at every level ready to function for the profitability and the production of that business. So on whatever level that it comes, if you are a leader in the new wineskins that are coming forward, right? You talk about a learning curve. This is a time where we must understand that we don't want to remain authorities operating in the same ways that we used to. Are we maturing? Therefore, we can bring greater maturity or opportunities for maturity, right? I can just be so magnificent. That does not guarantee, and I'm saying that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, that does not guarantee that everybody that works with me is going to mature, because it's an opportunity. But am I doing my part as an authority to give the other person, the other party, as much opportunity as possible to grow and to be nurtured, to know what it is to work, to know what it is to rest and relax? Is there an ebb and flow in the way that they're being raised? So when this conversation happened between my husband and I, and then God had so provoked me with that. Are you going to dominate her? Because I was one of those controlling parents. I know that some of it was how others would perceive me as a parent. I think this one probably grieves me the most. Why I cared, I do not know. I do know, but I'm just saying that it's still, sometimes you look back and you're like, really? Like, I let that control me. And I did. I was very busy, and therefore I moved at a particular pace. And when you are a fast-moving authority, guess what? You want everybody that's traveling with you to move quickly, do what I say, and just do it because I said it. So oftentimes when our motivations are we're caring too much about what other people think, we're trying to manage the impression that we make on people, we want people to see us as strong and authoritative and all of that. And then we're clipping along at a pretty strong pace. So that means we are not moving in lots of patience and understanding for their learning process. We just want them to get it, do it, right? Or we may have been a passive, a passive authority. And so therefore it frustrated people because we weren't decisive enough at certain times. So again, there are so many examples that we can give. But I wanted to, share this with you, what I learned and what I am learning literally every day. Literally. I'm in the heat of the moment almost right now while I'm recording this. And this came up for me. Will I dominate or develop as an authority? Do I just want everybody to do what I want? I'm trying to get something accomplished here. Maybe you're a project manager and you're just like, look, people, I just need y'all to get with it. We got the bottom line. And so therefore you tend to govern more by domination. Or if you know that you're there to bring development, to cause a team to be able to move together, and you truly care about the development of each person, but you also know that those individual persons then need to be able to cooperate with each other, work together, so the atmosphere that you create is very important. You can see why real maturity to be a real authority is so important. But if bitterness is in the mix, right, then it can stir a lot of self-indulgence, and you feel that because you've been hurt or wounded or left out or rejected or disregarded, then you can just act any way you want. You can see how that's like throwing a grenade into the room and then shutting the door. So we want to recognize that in ourselves. So even today, as we are raising our granddaughter, and we are growing NMM, because I only want to grow it as long as the Lord wants it. If at any moment He says, we're done, you have done what I gave you to do, so let's begin to, equip others to get done what they need to get done. And, this is about now. You've produced producers, and pour into them, give them what I've given you, and then we're done, then we're done. This isn't, I'm going to keep going because I'm doing this for me, and I've got to have a ministry, to be somebody, so I'm going to keep doing this. No. We're on assignment. And so we're listening to the Lord very carefully. So developing right now, right in this season, in so many ways is such a stark contrast to where I used to be. Now, my flesh has not changed. And this is something sometimes that is misunderstood. You see, I am the new man. You are the new man if you're born again. You have a new life, new nature. You have the mind of Christ. Everything's new. You have a fresh start. At every new level, you kind of have a fresh start, if you will. And so you're maturing and growing as the new man. But the old, right, though it's no longer of you, you have no obligation to the flesh. If you choose to step off in it, if you want to go rogue and go independent, and you decided, that's it, I've had enough, here comes the bitterness quotient, and you decide, that's it, I'm just going to do whatever, because everybody else is doing whatever they want, so why am I over here trying to obey God? Okay, settle down, okay, right? You can step off into your flesh, and guess what you're going to find? It hadn't changed one bit. As a matter of fact, it's been decaying. It's probably going to look worse. And so that can be a shocker to us, right? So I know that the further in I go with him, abiding, my friends, is like 24/7. And I'm not saying that I'm there, but that's where I'm moving towards. This isn't for ministry, for preaching, for Sundays and Wednesdays. This is 24/7. And I know if I untether myself from him, that doesn't mean I've lost my salvation. It doesn't mean I'm not seated in heavenly places. It means I've just made a decision that I'll handle this, Lord. And so I go off and I try to dominate and I try to control the situation by either appeasing, or fighting back, or any of these things that we've talked about. I could choose to do any of that, but I'm not. And in real time, I'm saying to you that we get to make decisions as his disciples, as his sons. We get to make decisions. Others may provoke us. Situations may happen that we don't like. We still are a free people, and we get to decide. And right now, I get to decide if I'm going to respond to him inwardly or get jerked around by someone else's anger or their fears. And therefore they want to fight because they're afraid. And they attack. And so out of my own shock and awe and hurt and all of that, I start, no, we're not getting back in those cycles. Listen to me carefully. Those cycles never change. Cycles of flesh never change. And they will take you to the same exact places they have always taken you. This is not about dominating one another, usurping authority, ruling over each other. This is about ruling yourself in Christ. And so that there can be real development in you, and then you're learning by how he rules you and you rule yourself. You're learning how you're going to walk with others. And my friends, if ever there's an hour that we need to be a part of maturing the body of Christ, it is now. But that begins inside of us, in our own skins, in our own houses, in our own dealings with people, in handling the affairs of life. So harness everything today, my friends. Harness every circumstance that you're in. And let it serve the purposes of maturing you. Don't let old bitternesses come in. Don't let fresh bitterness come in. Don't be outwitted. So that you can rule yourself. Remember, someone who doesn't rule themselves is like a house whose windows and doors are blown out. It's like a city without walls. Then everybody and everything can trample all over you. And eventually you will come to a place of resignation, and you'll slide ever so subtly into just existing. My friends, that cannot be said of us. We are those who are actively abiding, actively engaged. We are moving forward with him. And therefore, when old bitter ways are offered up to us, when resentments and attitudes of victimhood come back to us, we must reject them fully so that we can continue on in life with Him. I do pray that this pierces you deeply and gets your attention. Respond to Him, my friends. I certainly am. Love you all. I'm stepping in here at the end of these episodes to encourage you to watch our social media for your invitation to the private online event with me, The Vault. It will be Friday, August 23rd, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. This will prove to be a stepping stone time where you can take your next steps to development, to preparation, to awareness, to discernment. And I look forward to our time together on The Vault, a private online event with Nancy McCready. August 23rd, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Watch our social media, watch our email subscriptions, and you will receive information. Get your tickets and be there with me. Thanks so much.